Hey everybody, this is TJR. I wanted to discuss this news story that's been making the rounds on the internet regarding David Crosby. It would appear that he has managed again to outrage and infuriate the internet. This is something he's quite good at. And the details, the backstory is as follows. A gentleman named DJ Sackett, who is he's 54 years old. He's a charity worker from Sheffield, New York. And recently, he shared on Twitter a portrait that he had created of David Crosby. And he tagged David Crosby when he did. In his post, he wrote, "Hope you are keeping well. Did a picture of you. Thanks for the music." And David Crosby responded. Now, I'll discuss the response in a moment, but needless to say, his response was a bit less than gracious. And of course, the internet was outraged. And I think this incident raises questions regarding fan expectations versus artist obligations. Now, before I go any further, I want to show you the artwork first. I don't claim to be an art critic. I love learning about art. I love going to art museums. There is some art that I like, and there is some art that I don't like. I also enjoy and appreciate commercial art as well. And we can debate, whether this qualifies as fine art, whether it's artistic, does it capture his essence? We can debate all those things, of course. But subjectively speaking, as art, this picture, personally, I think it's pretty good. But subjectively speaking, as art, it works because it conveys everything it needs to convey, and it conveys it like that. I can look at this picture, and it only takes a second for me to realize, yeah, this is a portrait of David Crosby. Now, if perhaps this picture looked more like Elmo from Sesame Street or, Mario from the Mario Brothers, then we could safely say this is not good art because it's not conveying what it needs to convey. There is no mistaking who this is. So getting back to the news story, David Crosby responded with a tweet where he stated, "That is the weirdest painting of me I have ever seen. Don't quit your day job." This, of course, incited an awful lot of angry reactions. I'm going to read a couple of them here. "This is the weirdest reaction to a fan trying to do something nice I have ever seen. Don't quit your day job, David Crosby, but maybe stop being an unkind schmuck on Twitter." Another fan responded to Crosby stating, "Other than it making you look young and cheerful and not just a human fart with wrinkles, I find this aesthetically appealing." This next one, well, I'll just read it to you. "This is pretty disappointing from the guy who sang Heart of Gold." Now, I'm sorry, but with this one, David Crosby is perfectly in his rights to chew this guy out a new one. And that's all I'll say. There were even some celebrity responses to this here. One of the stars of HBO's Our Flag Means Death, Damien Gerard, hopefully I've said his name correctly, tweeted, "David Crosby's shitty attitude towards a fan who took time to create a piece of fan art highlights a very real issue, that many people in similar positions as him don't care about hurting others. Don't let a decrepit voice like his stop you from sharing your authentic selves." And my personal favorite is this one from Linda Carter. She tweeted, "Life is too short to be mean to strangers online. Go outside and look at some trees." And honestly, I think this tweet here just sums up so much of what I feel about the internet. Life is too short to be mean to strangers online. Go find something better to do. Now, throughout this tweet fest, David Crosby did not back down, and he continued to just reassert his opinion that he didn't like it and that he wasn't going to lie about it. So now I want to bring up 2 points. One is that David Crosby is right. He is not obligated to like something or lie about something that he doesn't like, regardless of the intent. However, though, this artist didn't ask him for an opinion. He just posted the artwork as a fan. But with that said, as both a fan and as an artist, I am sure that on some level he is hoping for some kind of acknowledgement from him. Now, whenever something like this happens on the internet, everyone likes to say, well, if this were me, I would have done such and such and such. I'm nobody famous, but because I am a musician and I do review music on this channel, I do get people who will ask me to review the music they've created, and they'll send it to me and they'll want to know what I think. Now, because they've asked my opinion, I do feel a responsibility that if I do respond, I need to be as honest and as objective as possible. Again, though, DJ B. Sackett did not ask for an opinion. He just said, hey, David, thanks for all the great music. Here's a portrait I did of you. So I'm going to tell you, if this were me, even if I hated the artwork, I would put my personal feelings aside and just express gratitude that someone thought enough of me to create a portrait. And if I love the artwork, that's just a bonus. However, though, that doesn't obligate David Crosby to act the same as I do. Now, in fairness, later, David Crosby did post the following remark. And this was in response to a lot of the criticism he was getting. He said, I just didn't think it was any good, but I should not have dropped the don't quit your day job on him. That was just being pissy, which I sometimes am. Usually I'm fairly thoughtful. Now, as a result of all this, the artist, DJ B. Sackett, was interviewed by ArtNet. And they showed some of his other artwork here. I'm going to show you some of it. Honestly, I like these pieces of artwork better than his portrait. And I have a little bit more appreciation now for what he does. But in the interview, he had the following quote. I was disappointed that he didn't like it, as I had created it as a tribute to him. I'm such a fan of his music, but of course, I couldn't expect him to like it. And he's entitled to an opinion. I knew he had a reputation for being a somewhat prickly character, so I wasn't too surprised at the tone of his reply. I still appreciate him as a musician. I'm proud of the painting. Now, this tells me that he is a fan of David Crosby, because you can't be a fan of David Crosby and not be aware of his reputation on the internet. So a couple of things here, in summation of all of this here. David Crosby, he's in his 80s, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's definitely up there in years. And two things. One, sometimes as we get older, and we all age differently, but to varying degrees, sometimes we lose some of our filters. And Crosby kind of alluded to this when he said, I was just being pissy, which I get sometimes. Usually I'm more thoughtful. So he kind of is apologizing, kind of saying that sometimes he just gets real pissy. And could just be the fact that some of his filters are failing him at this point. Filters that we normally use, in our daily lives to help us be more civil with each other. I know from personal experience, I've had relatives who, as they've gotten older, have lost not only some of their filters, but in some cases, all of their filters. And so they really say just incredibly terrible things. And I just have to take that into account when I'm dealing with them. Now, the other thing, of course, could be that David Crosby just likes kind of stirring the pot. I have friends who like to post things on Facebook just to see what reaction they get, just to see people react. They just think it's fun to see the reactions. And they post things that they know are going to kind of outrage people. And David Crosby might just enjoy saying things on the internet just to see how people are going to react. I'm like I said, I don't know this person at all. I'm just speculating here. But in the end, this kind of worked out well for the artist. From what I read, and you can read his whole interview on ArtNet, he apparently, did art in his younger life. Then life interrupted, and during the pandemic, he came back to doing artwork. And so in the end, this worked out well for him because he was interviewed by ArtNet. They featured his artwork on their website, and he's gained a larger audience as a result. So in many respects, David Crosby did him a favor, even if unintentionally did him a favor. Of course, I'm sure that the more conspiratorial-minded viewership out there might be thinking to themselves, perhaps Mr. Sackett is more Machiavellian than anyone suspects. Perhaps he counted on Mr. Crosby's prickliness when he made his post, knowing full well that it would inspire outrage against David Crosby and sympathy for him and his art. I know that my more conspiratorial side thought that, but you know what? I highly doubt that's possible. Anyways, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. I want to thank you so much for staying to the end. I really appreciate it. It helps these videos a lot, helps my channel a lot. And if you'd like to help my channel, please click like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon so you never miss a video. If you'd like to give an extra level of support, please go to my Patreon page, patreon.com/TGR the original, make a monthly pledge. Patron supporters get their names in the credits, but also they get exclusive weekly videos that no one else gets on the channel, and they get sometimes early access to select videos before anyone else gets them. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Hope you all stay safe and healthy. Take care.